after 2014 and 2017 being your last year, what happened in between there that changed?
That's a great question.
Well, like ultimately it was like, yeah, I became more aware of injuries. And this whole thing of like risk and reward. I used to go to the sports psychologist and they'd be like, well, you know, what's the worst, like asking me, what is the worst that you think can happen? Oh, broken bone, broken arm or something. But then like, I don't know if we did that again or if I was just thinking about that and I was like, sounds a bit more serious these days. And like, are you willing, is the reward of what you're doing worth the risk of it going wrong? And I think when I was younger, I was always like, oh, it won't happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And then I've said some people like, you feel like you use up your lives. You have a few big crashes that you get away with. And then I think it was like, might happen to you. And maybe because I didn't feel like I was, I don't know.
Did you feel you were like crashing more because you had this worry?
I don't think so. I've never been someone who crashes loads anyway. But I did have big crashes before and I had some big crashes after as well. So yeah, but like, honestly, I think like I always did it for fun. As I say, it was always fun. It was never like, I want to be the best mountain biker in the world and I want to dominate at the top level. It was like, it was fun, like cool thing to do. Like what an opportunity, and loving everything that came with it. But I don't think I ever envisaged that it would be my career forever. Partly because of being a woman. At some point you have to do something else. At least for a bit. Although now Rachel's like absolutely, coming back and winning a World Cup after having a kid.
Yeah,
like
that was
amazing.
cool, wasn't it? That was cool.
And like cross-country rider to see that now as well. But I think there was a bit of that, like I kind of feeling, it was like, what am I going to do? It was like, what comes after?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what came after. And at that point, I didn't know what those options could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
so
think
it was
like,
actually a happy and healthy retirement. It wasn't one that was like, when you stopped racing, was there any form of negativity around it, or was it like?
It was a really hard decision to make.
I bet.
Because what a cool thing to do. And you're turning it down and you're like, actually no. And like good, like at that point after winning world champs, like, real good contract for like someone in your early 20s at least. Or mid 20s, I guess at that point. I mean, you're still
at the pointy end. You're still one of the fastest riders in the world. Yeah. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you retired mid-season as well?
Yeah. It did get to a point I was like, I'm if I was still having a conversation with someone, like, if your head's not in it, don't make yourself do it, because if you do then have a big crash, you're gonna regret it. And I did go out to World Cup, but I was like, no, it's not gonna work, like head's not there.
Wow.
So yeah, like it wasn't like I still wanted to be competing and I couldn't anymore, which is probably the worst scenario. But it was sad being like, I don't think this is it anymore. And then it's like, what? Well, yeah, it was sad that it wasn't that anymore. But I had started uni, so I'd gone back to university. So I had something to go into. So it wasn't like this big black hole of like nothing.
Yeah,
to
totally,
do, which I think is a really hard place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I went on to next stage of life.
Who were you talking to about this decision? Because it's not a easy decision to make. Mid-season, team, contracts, blah 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 blah.
I was really
Who did you confide in?
So I think there was so it was a national champs that year. Was when I had it dawned on me I don't want to go as fast as I need to go to be competitive, so then I can't really race anymore. It was a really emotional bit when a young girl who'd been a fan, she's really sweet, her and her dad, they came up and they gave me a mug that said something like, you never give up on your dreams or something, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna cry.
Wow.
That was quite hard. And then in the week after, I spoke to the team because there was a World Cup coming up, And the world champs were in Australia.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't fly to Australia if, like, and British Cycling pay for you, or whoever's paying for you to go out there. Like, you can't go all the way to Australia knowing that, like, you might not be, your head's not in it. So yeah, my family, I guess, for a week. Poor them. And my partner was really good. Like, he's really level-headed. Yeah, and he was like, it feels like a big decision now. In a few years' time, it won't. Which I don't know if I took that in at the time, but
No, it's hard to though, isn't it? Especially and to be in that world, you have to wrap yourself up in it so much that I think it probably is hard to see out. I think that for anyone doing biking and then or a sport and then stopping.
Yeah, and I kind of think just life changes, because like, I've had like other transitions since that, which again like aren't super easy. Like, anyone who might have a career change, like, they might know it's because they don't want to do this thing anymore, but what else are they going to do? And that whole like building up to jump ship.
Yeah.
It's
those feelings of risk versus reward. Like, do you remember when they first started to creep in? Is there like a moment you can picture and be like, that's when I thought maybe this feature on this track or this, I don't know.
Yeah. So 2016, I did have a big crash, broke my collarbone at Val d'Isole World Champs.
Yeah.
Just went, I guess, I went really fast into a berm and there was a big hole in over the bars and end of race run. And after that, I think there've been a few things that year. You know, when people talk about there's like a feature on a track that needs to be fixed or isn't quite right and things like that. That might have been the first part of me thinking about that, because just because it was changing loads during the week and then like this big hole develops like between practice runs and race runs. But like the next year, there'd always be something on a track that annoyed me. Like a landing that would, like, people were crashing on, I guess, not picking on Lords. This kind of happened at every World Cup. Something annoyed me, which is like, it tells you you're kind of not in the right place. But I was trying to like get over it. But like people were crashing on the landing. It was like really soft, and like one of my teammates hurt his ankle landing it. And you're like, if you're going to put a feature in a track and you're going to build a feature in a track, test it and do it properly before the race. And it's like it's a World Cup. Like, is that a lot to? It's not a lot to expect.
Yeah.
And then at Leergang, the last jump was really, it was like straight into the last jump, and it felt sketchy because you had no idea how fast you would go. I didn't like it.
Okay.
And then one of the elite men had a really big crash, and Remy Thurion, and had a real bad injury from it. Yeah. And I was fuming.
It's like a massive tabletop.
Just real.
I remember
like,
it
I did something my dad used to go on about. Like, he loves qualifiers for tricky things, which is good. But he'll build stuff so it's challenging to ride because it makes you a better rider. But is it actually fun? But like, this is just like huge running straight into a table, NG race run. Yeah, you just couldn't, like, there was nothing to like gauge your speed or, you know, before. And you know,
that feature, actually. I forgot about it until this point. But yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But so I think when I think I was still in the pits after my run when that was happening. I don't know. I went to see Tony, Tardy's dad, and I was just like, I was just really annoyed. Like, I just didn't think it was a good feature to have in or sensible.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it was stuff like that, and then you're like, well, okay. Yeah, I think that was the start.
Yeah.
And then the realization, like, I just don't want to go as fast as I need to. Yeah.
I was like, I always love hearing it, in fact, from racers that there's like an extra gear, because I ride the same. I don't race. I just ride tracks, and I'll go quick on the tracks, but I never have to do the extra 10%. So I kind of don't almost know. Like, I just like hearing it. I like hearing someone say, yeah, I'm riding at 80% at the minute, and then for finals we're going to go. What was it literally that for you that felt dangerous?
It was like, I mean, every track's different, right? So there were these features that were bothering me, and I think somewhere I was getting like a flashback that I was going to, because Val d'Isole, it was just like instantly over the bars. Yeah. And kind of feeling that might just happen at any time, which I guess is like a bit of a, it's like coming back to haunt you. Yeah, so that one lingered. Yeah, this was like, this is a crash that lingered on me. Yeah. Because it was so maybe out of the blue. But then it was, so the national champs was at Riedefalen, Bala. And it's all like slates, like slippery slates, which you can ride down, fine. But then, you know, to do that extra 10%, I was like, don't want to.
Yeah.
Don't want to crash.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, yeah, that's kind of the...
What is it in that extra 20%? What is it that kind of...
Yeah,
it's just the edge, isn't it? It's just the edge. It's finding the edge, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you can ride down most tracks and not crash.
Yeah.
But then if you want to go as fast as you can, then you are on the edge. And it's the edge for everyone, right? Because everyone will crash. Like even like the top racers, like some get a perfect run, and then sometimes you go too much or too less, or
Yeah.
So it sounds like just a catalogue of things. There's a little bit of track, there's a little bit of expectation maybe, or
and this is
all these things just culminated in this decision having to be made.
And this is the thing, because like as you say, you kind of analyze it in the years past, and there's all like so many, you know, you could probably find like an endless number of things, or that wasn't quite right, or there was that. But I think it's ultimately that risk and reward.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, it
wasn't worth it anymore.
it wasn't worth, the carrot of like pushing yourself past that limit and accepting that you could injure yourself again wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any regrets from that decision?
No.
I'm sure you get asked that all the time.
People ask, do you miss it? I've like, you can absolutely watch races and feel the emotion. Like I probably like teared up watching quite a few finals, because you know what everyone's feeling and like what's led up to that moment. But if I want to go ride my bike, I can go ride my bike. If I want to ride it fast, I can ride it fast. Or I can just chill and cruise. And it's intense. Like, I think I could only race trying to be at the top. I don't think I could do it like just to be there.
Okay.
Why is that?
Don't know. I wish I didn't have it, because I get that in other stuff too. Just a little bit intense,
So that's
maybe.
the competitive edge. That's like...
Yeah, the whole, if you're not going to do something properly, don't do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's there, and I know it's there. I struggle to not do something as well as I want to. So like, and I thought about enduro and thought about other stuff, but I'm like, it would be back to training. Like it's 24/7, because it's like you train and then you're not going and doing something else after, because you're supposed to rest, and sleeping well and eating well and recovering again for like the next like block of training and stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot that people put into it, like absolutely. And I like having my summers.
Fair.
I think that was you know, like I was looking on Roots and Rain. I did about 20 races a year from 2011 to 2016.
Right.
And you got 50
You
weeks,
only got
50 weekends in a year.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of racing.
It's a lot of summer. It's a lot of summer weekends.
Yeah. So, you know, again, amazing thing to do. What an opportunity. But also there's also other stuff to do. And I'm enjoying doing that.
The next chapter.
Yeah.
So you finished up and did quite a few quite interesting film projects straight away, didn't you? Okay. Hey man, what an episode that was. You did amazing in it.
And so did you.
You shone like a star.
You shone like a moon.
Can we also put something up here that you can click on for the next episode?
How about we put a subscribe up there in the middle?
Yeah,
We're going to put a video we think that our lovely companionship will love
Yeah.
on your face.
On my face?
Yeah.
So
And
they
on
can't see me now?
Gone. And on my face, another video that we think people will love. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe. You guys are the best.
Peace and love.